If there's one thing No Man's Sky has taught me in the time I've been playing it, is that its newest updates always bring drastic changes to the whole gameplay. So much in fact that every year it feels like I'm playing a completely different game. Of course, it's not just the graphics, but the core gameplay and mechanics get upgraded, expanded upon, and even overhauled all the time. That is why in today's video I'm going to go over everything you guys should do right now if you want to get ready for the Beyond update. Also, before proceeding, a quick shout out to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. This is my go-to website for buying games really cheap. If you haven't checked it out already, I've posted a link down below you can follow for some of the best discounts you can find at the moment. But with that being said and done, let's dive right into this with the first thing on the list that you should do as soon as possible, and that is of course to get all of the 16 portal glyphs as soon as possible. It goes without saying that portals are one of the most important means of transportation in the universe of No Man's Sky, as they pretty much let you travel to any corner of the galaxy, any system, planet or even moon, as long as you have the coordinates for it. There are two major ways you can acquire these glyphs. The easiest way of course is by talking with the traveler entities inside space stations or even trading posts. You can distinguish these from the regular NPCs by the fact that they are pretty distinctive and by the fact that they are neither Gak, Viking nor Korvax. For just a few nanite clusters, they will point you towards their graves, which is more often than not on the nearest planet. Once you reach the planet, get to the grave, activate it, and congratulations, you just got a brand new glyph. And you will need to do this roughly 16 times, meaning that you will need to find 16 different travelers and interact with their graves. Every time you do so, you will get the next glyph in the sequence, and I will admit it might be time consuming as not all of the space stations even spawn them, so my advice over here is for you to take note of them as you play normally through the campaign and really make an effort to always get their glyphs. The second way might or might not be more time consuming than the first one, as it requires you to be very close to the end of the Awakenings questline, but again, depending where you are situated, it might be even faster. Without spoiling anything, towards the end of the questline itself, there is a mission that requires you to travel through roughly 16 solar systems towards the galactic core. Every new jump you do through the solar systems awards you the next glyph in the sequence, up to the maximum of 16. As I've said, this could be time consuming as the questline is roughly 30 hours long and it requires you to play through the better part of the game. But if you already have it partially done or are close to finishing it, then this is probably the best next thing because it's pretty close and it doesn't take you too long to get all of the systems and the glyphs. Moving on to number 2, my next advice for you guys is to get the best looking ships, multi-tools, and possibly even freighters if you haven't done so already. Freighters aren't really necessary and aren't really that important as they're the only ones with very few variations, but spaceships and multi-tools most definitely are. There's a strong chance that another universe reset might be coming with a Beyond update, which was the case probably every time a big update dropped in the past. This in turn can completely remove or even make impossible for you to acquire a certain model that you might not want to miss. To give you an example, I got this very cool blue fighter ship in the Atlas Rises days inside a system with some very beautiful and lush planets. When the next update dropped, not only the entire system got a complete reset, but it became abandoned and the space station even got destroyed, to the point that this meant there was no more NPC ships landing anywhere, which made the acquisition of said ship pretty much impossible. The same goes for several multi-tools I kept an eye out for. Many of them have been replaced, outposts that contained them got removed, or they simply stopped spawning with the best stats as a result of the economy changes that the solar systems went through. If you want to check some cool models, I'll leave 2 links down below. One of them is for a subreddit where people post their latest discoveries, and another one is for a mini-series I made roughly 1 year ago that features the best ships and multi-tools I could find. Coming up to number 3, we have the nanites. Nanite clusters are one of the few items in the game that remained unchanged, well, with the exception of their acquisition, as they are one of the main forms of currency you can use to purchase very important upgrades in this game. When the Beyond update eventually drops, you will most probably want to have these piled up, as there's most probably going to be a ton of new upgrades for you to purchase. There's 2 major ways you can get nanite clusters in No Man's Sky at the moment. The most straightforward way is by getting them as rewards from missions. The second and the fastest way is of course through the refining process. There are several critical items or elements that you can refine into nanite clusters, and some are of course more lucrative than others. Just from the top of my head, these are the runaway mold, platinum, the hexite plus copperite recipe, pugnium, the alien eggs, Hadal core, and salvage tech. My personal advice here for you guys, and the easiest, is of course to use platinum, pugnium, or those level cores. If you have a ton of units at hand, then platinum can be bought in the tens of thousands inside wealthy systems and then even broken down if you want to. Pugnium can also be acquired from defeating sentinels, and it tends to drop in huge amounts from them, but the alien cores or the alien eggs is also a good choice, as the yield is pretty much probably the biggest, 50 per each alien egg, and it only takes like a few seconds to deconstruct these. So if you're efficient at gathering these alien eggs without dying, then you can get a few thousands of nanites in no time. I do recommend setting up a refinery inside of your freighter with at least a few dozen or so refiners, so you can break these down at the same time as fast as possible. At number 4, it goes without saying that money makes the world go round, and in the case of No Man's Sky, I guess the universe? Well, the point is, you're going to want to get money, and a ton of it. There's a lot of money guides here on YouTube you can check out, and I will make an up-to-date version in the next couple of days, but generally speaking, look into farming, trading, and collecting. For farming, you can build your own farm or use one of the super farms in the Galactic Hub, assuming of course you got all of the blueprints to build the high-end materials. For trading, I made a whole video last year, you can check down below, it explains everything, and all you need to do is start with a small capital investment of, say, just 1 million units. Finally, look into collecting expensive crystals such as the storm crystals on planets with extreme weathers. These can only be found during extreme weathers, so pay close attention to them. You will get damaged and even down if you're not careful, but the rewards definitely pay up. Missions can also work pretty great, as well as sending your frigates into expeditions, but my recommendation here honestly is to aim for at least a few 100 million units before the Beyond update drops, so you can cover anything expensive you might not have yet and still have enough left for whatever Beyond might bring. At number 5, I recommend getting all of the blueprints you can. There's two main ways you can get these in the game. The first one is of course by simply doing the entire quest chain for the base building. You cannot miss this. You will get to hire some base NPCs, each with their own quests, and completing them will reward you a lot of, well, most of the blueprints that you can find in the game, including the ones for creating farms. From here on, the second way is of course through the manufacturing facilities. You find these either by asking for directions from NPCs on space stations or trading posts, either by using signal boosters and picking the scan secure frequencies options. If you want to take down the door faster, you can use the ship's phase beam as you fly towards it, or the multi-tools plasma launcher, but honestly a regular bolt caster will do just fine. Once inside, go to the terminal and pick the correct contextual option, which will reward you a new blueprint. Of course, do keep in mind that this is at random and it might take you some time until you get all of them, but it's definitely going to be worth it. Now, if you followed all of my 5 points, you should be pretty much covered for everything that the game throws at you in the Beyond update. I do have a few more honorable mentions here though. You can go ahead and stockpile as many of the base elements as you can, and I strongly recommend you do this even if there's going to be another overhaul. As it was with the last time it happened, a lot of the old elements got converted into new ones, so at the very least you have a greater start. You can also go ahead and upgrade everything that you have, including the multi-tool, your exosuit, and even your ship, as I don't think there's going to be another major overhaul here. And even if there is, you will get compensated with salvage tech or another equivalent that is useful for creating new ones, or at the very least give you a ton of units. Building a base is also an option that you have, though I'm expecting for the whole universe to go through another complete reset. So if you built a base on a planet because you liked it, that planet might get completely changed once the update drops. And finally, since No Man's Sky is coming to VR, also consider investing into a VR unit if you have the money to burn. No Man's Sky will get completely recreated in virtual reality, both for Steam users and for the PS4 users, so obviously it's going to be pretty big, probably the biggest current VR game we have, so just keep that in mind. But that is all that I have for you guys for now. Now tell me if there's other things you guys are doing at the moment to get ready for the Beyond update. Comment your answers down below, and in the meantime, meantime, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. Also subscribe to the channel and activate that notification button to get these videos early, and I will see you guys next time, so peace out.